All right, awesome. Well, welcome to your Thursday morning, 7 a.m. gentle class.
Thank
And I'm Danielle. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to focus on today?
Nope, nothing in particular. So whatever you want to do.
Okay. All right, sounds good. We're going to start in an easy seated position. So you can be cross legged on the ground or you can have your legs out in front of you. I like to have a block under me. So, however you feel comfortable. And then we're just going to start with some shoulder rolls, very gently bringing some movement into the shoulders, into the neck. You can take a few rolls back, you can take a few forward, and shrug your shoulders up to your ears, nice and tight. And then release and let the shoulders drop down and slide down the back. And one more time, shrug them up and let go. And we'll take a little neck stretch to the side. So reach your fingertips out towards either side and down towards the mat. And drop your right ear over towards your right shoulder. And let gravity and the weight of your head create space in the other side. And bring your head back to center and drop your left ear over to your left shoulder. Bring your head back to center once again. Take whatever organic movements feel good here. And then we'll move into a twist. So easy, gentle, not forcing or wrenching the spine. But I like to put my right hand behind me, right at the base of my spine to help me sit up nice and tall. And then you can bring your left hand to your right knee and start to look over your right shoulder. Release back through center and over to the other side. Your left hand can come behind your spine to support it as your right hand comes to your left knee. Sit up nice and tall and then start to look over your left shoulder. Come back to center once again. And we'll take a few torso circles. So, leading with your heart, start to make some circles, hinging all the way from your hips. You can make the circles as big or as small as you want. They can be little circles up here, they can be big circles all around. See if you can bring some pliability in the shoulders as well. And switch directions. And come back to center, finding some stillness. And we'll move into a child's pose. So you can rock forward onto your knees, or you can find another way to get there. Bring your knees wide to the edge of your mat. Big toes come to touch. Send your hips back to your heels and slide your hands forward on the mat. You can rest your forehead on the mat or on a block or a blanket. And take a minute in child's pose to check in with yourself, check in with your body, how you're feeling, how you're breathing. Sometimes child's pose is a very restful pose for me, and other times it can be a very challenging pose, depending on the day and the time and what's going on. And there's nothing wrong with it being more challenging than it might be on other days. You're just kind of checking in and bringing awareness to where you're at. From your child's pose, slide your hands back towards your body so they're under your shoulders and come up to tabletop position. So your shoulders are stacked over your wrists, your hips are over your knees. And we'll move through a few cat cows. As you inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone. You can lift your gaze a little bit, but draw the shoulders away from the ears as you do so. And then as you exhale, round your spine, let your head and neck completely relax. And start to connect your breath to your movement. So you might go a little faster or slower than I do, but take your cow on the inhale and then round the spine into cat on the exhale. And take one more full cycle. Inhaling to cow and exhaling to cat. Before you come back to a neutral tabletop with a flat back. And from here, we'll move into our first down dog. So I usually move my hands one handprint forward on the mat, tuck your toes, lift your knees and lift your hips, and pedal out your down dog, straightening one leg and then the other. And especially if you have tight hamstrings. And once your legs are feeling a little bit awake, you can bend your knees and press your heart towards your thighs, pressing weight into each knuckle of each finger, like they're suction cupped to the mat. And gaze forward to the spot between your hands on your mat and baby step your feet forward so that you're coming into a forward fold. Your feet can be hip width apart, or you can have your big toes touching with your heels slightly apart. Let your arms dangle and let your head and neck relax. You can sway side to side if that feels good, or put your pinkies in your opposite elbows. You can shake your head yes, and shake your head no, shake your head yes again. And then we're going to roll up slowly, one vertebra at a time, coming to standing, but taking our time. Let your head and neck stay relaxed until they actually are the very last thing to come up. But you might engage your core just a little, just sucking in the belly button a tiny bit to support the spine as you come up. Continuing to breathe. And then once your head finally comes up, shine your palms forward so that your shoulders can slide down and back. And from here, inhale your arms up overhead for extended mountain. Maybe take a little back bend. You can come into cactus arms and back to extended mountain. And exhale, forward fold. Moving gently, taking your time. We'll come up into halfway lift. For halfway lift, you can bring your hands to your shins or your thighs. Squeeze your shoulder blades back and together. And your gaze is down at the ground so that your neck stays long in line with your spine. So you're kind of making the shape of a number 7 with your body. And as you exhale again, release down to a forward fold. Big move, inhale your arms up overhead for extended mountain. A little back bend. Inhale back up to mountain. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands on the mat. And step one foot back. And then the other, we're coming into a high plank. And you can hinge back and forth just a little bit to see where your weight is and where your shoulders come right over your wrists. Once you find that place, we're going to lower down, and you can lower down to your knees first if you want to. You can always do a high plank from kneeling because you're engaging your core just the same. Squeeze your elbows into your rib cage as you lower all the way down, belly down to the mat. And we'll take a little cobra. So without putting a lot of weight in your hands, inhale, peel your chest up off the mat. And exhale, release down, cheek to the mat. Maybe take a breath here. And then inhale, peel your chest up off the mat again. Exhale, release your other cheek to the mat. And last one, lift your chest up and bring your forearms to the mat out in front of you so that we're coming into Sphinx pose. And you can play with how far away from your body you want your elbows or how close. If you have your elbows closer to your body, you're probably going to have a more extreme back bend, especially in the low back. If you have them farther away from you, it'll be more of a gentle back bend. And then see if you can focus on drawing the heart forward towards your hands. And while you're in Sphinx pose, you can keep the tops of your feet glued to the mat, or you can rotate your feet inwards towards each other just a little bit. Normally, I wouldn't recommend this, but in this particular pose, it can sometimes release the low back to kind of get that internal thigh rotation. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. When you're ready, bring your hands under your shoulders, press yourself back through tabletop, and then tuck your feet, lift your knees and your hips, and we'll come into downward dog again. We'll move through a full sun salutation. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step your feet between your hands for a forward fold. Take a breath here. And then inhale, halfway lift. Hands come into your shins, your thighs. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead for extended mountain. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands on the mat, fingers spread wide and pressed into the mat. Step one foot back and then the other, coming into your high plank or high plank from kneeling. And then elbows squeeze into your rib cage, lower down halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And then tuck your back toes, press back into a downward facing dog. We'll move through one more time. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step or jump your feet between your hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring your arms overhead for extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands on the mat. Step one foot back and then the other. High plank to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then come down to a child's pose or a resting pose for a moment. And reconnect with your breath. If you started holding your breath or breathing faster, come back to gentle waves of inhales and exhales. And then from your child's pose, press yourself up to tabletop position again. We're going to come into like a kneeling crescent pose. So the way I like to get there is just to step my right foot between my hands. If it doesn't reach, you can toe heel it forward so that your knee is right over your ankle. And when you're ready, you can rise up with arms overhead. And then we're going to take a little twist. So bring your right arm back behind you and your left arm comes in front. So you're twisting your torso towards your front leg. So you got a little bit of twisting, a little bit of balancing. And bring your arms back overhead, torso facing straight ahead. And then we're going to take a dragonfly. So it's almost like an extended side angle, but from kneeling. So your right hand will come down on the inside of your front leg and your left arm extends up overhead. So now you're twisting in the opposite direction. If that made any sense. I hope that made sense. Release your dragonfly. Bring your arms back to center one more time. And then both hands are going to come down on the inside of your front foot. So we're setting up for a runner's lunge, and you can toe heel your right foot up to the corner of your mat and adjust your back knee. If you want to put like a blanket or fold up your mat under your knee, you can. And then find your runner's lunge so you can release that back foot to the top the top of your foot to the mat, or you can keep the toes tucked if you like having that extra stability. If you choose to let your knee come out to get more of a hip opening stretch on your front foot, you can. Just make sure to come out to the knife edge of your foot so that your ankle stays in line with your knee. So that is an option that you have. And then you decide however far down you want to come. If you want to stay lifted, you can. If you want to come down to your forearms and fold forward a bit, kind of find your sweet spot where this pose works for you. Take 3 more breaths here in your runner's lunge. And then bring your hands under your shoulders. Start to press yourself up and toe heel that front foot back to center. And we're going to take a half saddle. So as you straighten your front leg, shift your weight back over your left heel. So you can sit all the way back on that heel, or you can stay a little bit lifted. You might have to try both to see where you get the best hamstring stretch. And once you kind of counter that runner's lunge, you can come back to a kneeling crescent, and we're going to switch feet. Bring your right foot back. And from tabletop, you can bring your left foot forward between your hands. And then once you feel stable, you can rise up to kneeling crescent. And see if you can get your hips level. For me, my right hip wants to come back because it's like, oh, this is yoga. We do warrior two. And it's like, pull that right hip forward and the left hip back so that they're pointing forward. And then we'll open up our arms to a side twist. So your left arm is coming back and your right arm is coming forward so that you're twisting towards your left leg. And bring both arms back up overhead. And then release the right hand down on the inside of the front leg. Left arm, nope, sorry, right arm comes up. So that you're now taking a little twist away from your front leg. And come on up to kneeling crescent once again. Big inhale. As you exhale, release both hands down to the inside of the front foot. Scoot your left foot forward up to the corner. Adjust your back knee. Pat it up, whatever feels good. And then find your runner's lunge on this side. And this side might be the same thing, might be different. You know, maybe this one you do want a bit more of a hip opener. Maybe this one you don't want to go down as low. So listen to your body. See what it says about this side on this day at this time. And roll with that. And you decide if you're starting to feel even on both sides. You might need a few seconds more or less. When you're ready, bring your hands under your shoulders. Start to toe heel your left foot back to center. And then shift your weight so that you can straighten your front leg, flexing the foot, toes coming up towards the ceiling. And you can either sit back completely on your right heel or you can stay lifted a little bit. Just taking a nice counter stretch to your runner's lunge. And when you're feeling pretty good and balanced, you can bend that knee again, send the front foot back, and come on back to a tabletop. And shake out whatever you need to shake out. If you want to bring some movement into your hips or your shoulders. And we'll move into gate pose. You might, if you like to stay on your mat for the best grip, you might want to turn sideways. But we're going to come up to standing on our knees. And we'll start with the right foot. So the right foot will come out to the side with your foot parallel to the short edge of your mat, kind of like you are in Warrior Two. If it doesn't come all the way down to the mat, that's okay. Just find a place where you feel pretty stable. And reach your arms up overhead. And we'll take a side stretch over to the right. So you're reaching over towards your extended leg. And pull your left shoulder back a little bit so that your chest is open. You're extending all the way through the side body. There's a few different places you might feel this. You might feel it more on your inner thigh that's extended. You might feel more of the side stretch coming from the outside of your left thigh, through your hip, through your rib cage, and even up through your arm. And if you feel it somewhere totally different, that's okay. These are just some of the places you might be feeling the benefits of this pose. Take one more big breath here with the fullest extension of this side stretch. Exhale. And as you inhale, bring both arms back up to center and release them down. Your right leg can come in. Maybe shake things out a little bit before you extend your left leg out to the left side. Foot parallel to the short edge of the mat. And when you're ready, bring your arms up overhead. Big inhale and exhale. Reach over the left leg. Drawing the right shoulder back to open the chest. Take one more breath here. Exhale. And then inhale both arms up to center. Release them down. Bring that left leg in. And then we'll come to seated. So you can get there however you want to. You can sit down on your side and swing your feet out in front. Extend your left leg straight and bring your right foot to the outside of your straight leg so that you can give your knee a hug. We're kind of moving into a pretzel pose here, but you can stay here if you want to, if you're getting a good stretch. This is option number one. If you like to fold your left leg in towards your body, you can do that as well. And option number three would be to take another little twist, bringing your gaze over your right shoulder. And if you took the twist, return back to center. Straighten out the left leg again. And uncross the right leg. Shake them out a little bit. You can windshield wiper your legs back and forth if that feels good. And then from here, we're going to move into pigeon. So we'll do this on the other side, but we'll do pigeon on this side first. So bring your left shin parallel to the short edge of your mat, or as close as you can get, and then send your right foot back. Now I kind of end up in a deer pose before I lift myself up and kind of scooch that back knee back, but again, you can get into it however you want to. Do take a look back and make sure that your foot and your leg are straight out behind you and not doing anything funky. From here, if you want to take a king pigeon before you fold forward, you can. And that would be bending your back knee and then reaching with your right hand to grasp your right foot. If you're really, really craving a good quad stretch, this is one I usually go for. But if it's one of those days where you're not feeling it, you can just skip this step. Release your right leg down to the mat. And then you can fold forward into your sleeping pigeon. As soon as you get your hips situated, you can fold as far as you want. That might be here up on your hands, might be on your forearms, might be all the way down to the ground. If you're folded forward in your sleeping pigeon, start to bring your hands under your shoulders and press yourself up enough so that you can send your front foot back and maybe straighten it, maybe shake it. If you want to take little hip circles, you can. And once you come back to your tabletop, I usually just cross my ankles, roll back so that I can swing my legs out in front of me. And we'll do our pretzel on the other side. So this time your right leg stays straight, left foot comes to the outside of the leg. Give your knee a hug. You've got the option to stay here, choice to bring your right heel in, and the choice to take a little twist over your left shoulder if you want. And if you've taken the twist, bring your torso back to center, uncross your legs, shake them out a little bit, windshield wiper. And this time, your right knee bends so that your right shin is parallel to the short edge of your mat. Left leg comes back. You can scoot that back leg back however you want. Take a look to make sure it's straight. And then if you like to, take the king pigeon on this side, bend the left knee, reach back with your left hand towards that foot. You want that quad stretch, maybe getting into the hip flexors a little. And you can spend as much time there as you want, but when you're ready, you can release that foot, make any adjustments that you need in your hips, and then start to fold forward for your sleeping pigeon. You can take a few more breaths here if you want, or if you're ready, you can start to move out of pigeon, bringing your hands under your shoulders, pressing yourself back, and sending your right foot back to stretch it out, shake it out, or make some hip circles if you want. And we're going to set up for our final Shavasana. So you can work your way onto your back if you'd like. And on your back, bring one knee and then the other into your chest. You can take a few little rocking motions side to side. You can make circles on the ceiling with your knees. And take any last minute movement that you want. If you want to take a little happy baby, you can. And then when you're ready, release one leg and then the other down to the mat. Let your feet fall open, and your hands can rest down by your sides, or you can rest them on your belly if you like to feel the rise and fall of your breath. Wherever you're comfortable. And this is your time to rest, relax, let your yoga practice sink in, and to thank your body for the hard work that it does, not just in yoga, but every day, getting you place to place. So this is your time to rest in gratitude. Start to deepen your breathing, feeling the rise and fall of your belly and your chest as you breathe in and out. And start to bring awareness back to your body. Feel the places where your arms and legs and back are supported by the ground underneath you. You can start to bring some movement, maybe some small movement into your fingers and your toes, or rolling your wrists and your ankles in little circles. And taking your own time, you can start to roll over onto your favorite side, bringing the knees up towards your chest a little bit, maybe using your arm as a pillow. And when you're ready, you can use your hands to press yourself back up to seated, taking your time. And if your eyes are closed, you can keep them closed or you can flutter them open to let some daylight in. And I want to thank you for doing Thursday morning yoga with me. Namaste. I hope you have an awesome day.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thanks, Erica.
Have a good one.
Bye.